for joining me on the Listen Up Girl podcast, where I bring you LGBTQ plus news several days a week. I'm bringing you news for December 28th, and today's episode is about survival, not survival as a slogan, but survival as something many queer people navigate every single day through family rejection, addiction, faith, representation, and political neglect. These stories are about who shows up, who disappears, and what happens when institutions fail the people they claim to serve. So let's start with a reality that becomes especially visible this time of year: family rejection and holiday isolation. The latest data confirms that what many LGBTQ plus people already know: family rejection is widespread, persistent, and deeply damaging. 34% of LGBTQ plus adults say they have moved away from family to escape discrimination. More than half, 52%, report having few or no close family or friends they can rely on for help or support. Among LGBTQ plus youth, more than 57% say they've experienced rejection or at least one negative reaction from a parent. That rejection doesn't end in childhood, it echoes throughout adulthood in the form of housing instability, mental health struggles, financial insecurity, and loneliness. During the holidays, this all intensifies. More youth have reached out to crisis hotlines at the rate at 20% higher than average in 2 days immediately following Christmas. When family togetherness is treated as universal, those without it are made to feel invisible or broken. Just remember, if you have a friend that's out there, or even a family member that doesn't have anybody, this time of the year is a perfect time to kind of reach out and make sure that everybody's okay. Our next story is Meth, Party and Play, and Corporate Silence. Methamphetamine addiction continues to devastate segments of the gay community, with party and play culture remaining deeply embedded in hookup app ecosystems. Apps like Grindr and Sniffies generate hundreds of millions of dollars each year, yet advocates argue they continue to function as primary spaces where drug use is normalized and rarely meaningfully addressed. A 2023 survey found that 91% of dating apps users reported at least one negative experience involving drugs. When asked for comment, Grindr declined an interview request and instead pointed to partnerships with a UK nonprofit. Critics say that this reflects a larger issue: corporate responses that gesture towards concern without addressing structural harm. This isn't about shaming users, it's about public health, community survival, and with platforms that profit from queer connection are willing to confront damage occurring with those spaces. Our next story is Rachel Maddow and returning to faith. So Rachel Maddow has revealed that she has reconnected with her Catholic faith after nearly 3 decades away from the church. Speaking at a recent live event, Maddow said her reassessment has influenced by the leadership of the Pope Francis and Leo, and by broader reflection on family and morality. Raised in a conservative Catholic household, she spent years distant from religion, a path familiar to many LGBTQ plus people whose identities were made incompatible with faith. Maddow emphasized that this is not a political shift, but a personal one. Her comments complicate the idea of queerness and religion must always exist in opposition and remind us that spiritual journeys are rarely linear, especially for those who were once pushed out. Our next story is Andrew Scott and queer memory. Andrew Scott is preparing to portray Scottish actor Ian Charleson in Elsinore, a new biodrama focused on the final chapter of the Charleson life. Charleson, best known as Chariots of Fire and Gandhi, delivered one of the most celebrated performances of Hamlet while living with AIDS, at the time when the illness was stigmatized and rarely acknowledged publicly. The film centers not just on illness, but on artistry, defiance, and legacy. Scott will also serve as a producer, signaling a deep creative investment. This project isn't a biopic, it's the act of queer remembrance, reclaiming a history that was often erased in real time. Next, Bishop Mariann Budde and moral courage. Bishop Mariann Edgar Budde, a longtime advocate for LGBTQ plus inclusion, is set to deliver a Christmas meditation on BBC Radio 4. Budde gained international attention after publicly condemning Donald Trump's use of St. John's Church for a 2020 photo op following the violent clearing of peaceful protesters. She framed her criticism not as a partisan, but as a moral response to the misuse of religion. Her Christmas message is expected to focus on mercy, dignity, and responsibility, themes that are increasingly radical in political climate shaped by cruelty masquerading as faith. Next, Dancing with the Stars Ireland makes history. Dancing with the Stars Ireland has made history with its first ever female same-sex pairing. Podcaster Amber Wilson has been partnered with professional dancer Alex Vladimiroff, a ballroom and Latin specialist returning for her second season. Alex previously reached the finals with Olympic athlete Jack Woolley. What makes this moment meaningful isn't spectacle, it's normalization. Same-sex partnerships on mainstream competition shows quietly challenge the assumption that heterosexuality is the default lens for romance, chemistry, and performance. Our next story is LGBTQ+ inclusion and the climate. A major study from the London School of Economics has found direct link between LGBTQ+ workplace inclusion and stronger environmental performance. Researchers examined nearly 900 U.S. companies over more than a decade and found inclusive workplace consistency, cut more emissions, adopt renewable energy more frequently, and ranked higher on sustainability metrics. The conclusion is striking. Environments that value people are also better equipped to value the planet. Our next story is Elliot Page's letter to the trans community. Elliot Page has published an open letter addressed directly to the trans community, offering solidarity during a moment many described as overwhelming. Acknowledges the fear, exhaustion, and grief that come with constant legislation attacks and public debate over trans existence. Rather than offering hollow optimism, the letter centers recognition, affirming that trans people are not imagining the weight of this moment. For many readers, the message resonated because it said plainly, this is hard and you are not alone. Good for you, Elliot. And our next story is Mariah Carey and chosen family. Mariah Carey has shared that most of her meaningful Christmas memories came from her gay uncles, not her immediate family. She experienced with her uncles who celebrated her creativity and made her feel safe being different. Her story is a reminder that chosen family isn't secondary for many LGBTQ. It is survival. And now our last story is Sarah McBride and political priorities. Congresswoman Sarah McBride criticized Republican leadership for prioritizing anti-trans legislation over health care protections, with Affordable Care Act tax credits set to expire, threatening higher premiums for millions. GOP leaders scheduled votes targeting trans people instead. McBride's message was blunt. Governing should be about protecting, not manufacturing distractions. And that is the news for Sunday, December the 28th. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do. And if you feel like this news may resonate with somebody, please be sure to share it. And please leave a comment. Check back tomorrow for more LGBTQ+ news. And thanks so much for listening.